Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Torey and today we are working in my October daily album on story number 9. I'm just going through a few of the supplies I'll be using today. I have a few papers from the Paper Person Halloween kit this year, a very large photo and a couple of smaller photos that I'm going to make kind of like a double door flip open with them. And my story is going to be about a picnic that we had in our backyard recently. We went to the hardware store and just went there to look for some pumpkins, and I ended up getting a couple of hay bales, and we had already planned on having a picnic, so I figured might as well make it a little bit more fall themed. So I set everything up in the backyard, and then we kind of just had a little picnic out in the backyard, me, my husband, and the kids, and it was just fantastic. The kids even sat down for maybe like 5 minutes reasonably for me to try and get a decent photo of them. I did get a couple. My daughter was much more willing to sit for photos than the boys were, but I got a good photo of all of them together, and then I also got a good photo of me and my daughter together. And then the photos all the way to the left of my page are just the sandwiches that I made, and then we also got a veggie tray and a fruit tray. This picnic was kind of a on a whim type of thing. I woke up one Sunday morning and was just like, we should have that picnic today since the lawn is mowed, because we were having issues with our lawn people showing up. So they had finally come and mowed the lawn. So I was like, we should do the picnic now. And so we went and got some quick and easy snacks from the grocery store, and then I made sandwiches, and we just had a little picnic in the backyard with the kids. So since I have this great photo of the children, I didn't want to spend a ton of time or a ton of embellishments really covering up the photos. So what I decided to do was to take my favorite photo of all three of the kids, and I blew that up so that it would be 10 inches wide by 8.25 inches tall. That way I could just kind of cut it right down the middle and have that span across a whole spread. And then I also cut 2 additional photos, the photo of me and my daughter, and then the photo of just kind of like the snack trays and the sandwiches and stuff that we had. I cut those ones down to 4.5 inches, I believe. And I will kind of just have enough space left open on either side of those photos for me to be able to punch the holes in to get these into my album. So I'm just using a piece of copy paper for both sides to get these photos adhered down so that they flip open. And then after I get that done, I will start working on what my main embellishments will be for this spread. Since I didn't really want to take too much away from the photos, I decided that I would kind of put all my embellishments on my doors. I will say though, this photo all the way to the left, the one that has my happy place written on it, I had left, when I was editing this photo, I had left that big white space on to the left of that open. I didn't put anything there because when I was getting everything printed out, I was like, this would be a great space for me to, just do a little line with my X-Acto knife, and then I can do some hidden journaling and put a little tag in there and then pull it out and have all of my journaling on there. I was just tape happy, I guess, and just completely bypassed that portion of it and glued everything down. So I'm not actually going to be able to do that, but that was what my original intention was for that big empty space right next to where it says my happy place. But I will kind of figure out how to work with that a little bit later when I get to that portion of it and I'm like, oh crap, I already glued this down. So for my doors, quote unquote, I am taking 3 pieces of the Paper Person Shop papers And I'm going to cut one of them into two 1-inch strips, and I'm going to place both of those strips on the far edge of my door, on opposite of where it folds. And I wanted to do it this way so it kind of tied the centers of those doors together. And then I will put the patterned paper that I wanted to use on either door to the other side against the fold. And it'll be a little bit more clear probably whenever I actually get to that, because I'm just in general, even in work today, having a terrible day explaining things. So hopefully nothing I'm saying is too confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear the edges of my two patterned papers that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to place those, like I said, against the fold so that it just kind of overlaps the text pattern paper as well. And I really, really love the way that this looked. It looked exactly the way that I wanted it to. Unfortunately, the rainbow paper, I did start ripping it a little bit too far out, so I have a rip at the top of that, but I will just cover that up a little bit later with a banner that I'm going to pull out from my Studio Calico embellishments. I did notice as I was working on this spread that while all of my colors matched, I didn't really have any particular theme. And what I was doing with the actual photos doesn't really match the theme of, well, what I was doing with the patterned paper doesn't really match the theme of my photos either, since we were having a picnic in the backyard. So it doesn't really bother me too much. It bothers me a little bit because it doesn't really make too much sense, but also I think it's really cute. So I'm making a conscious decision not to let it bother me that the theme of my pattern paper doesn't really match the theme of my actual photographs, because I do like the way that this ends up looking. I did pull a couple of my word strips from my Studio Calico word stickers that I've been using throughout all of my October daily spreads, and I placed those at a slight angle over those potion jars, just to kind of bring a little bit of something else to that particular pattern paper. And I also have this giant 9. This 9, I believe, is from the Week in the Life kit from Allie Edwards this year. And I am going to repeat stamp Trick Treat all the way across this number 9. I am using this stamp from Studio Calico. It's the Hocus Pocus stamp. It just was released this year. I don't know if it's still in stock, but if it is, I will link it down below for you. But I just kind of offset those a little bit, and I'm just going to repeat stamp those all over this number 9, and then I'm going to pull out my black Tombow Fudonosuke pen, and I'm going to color in 3 words that say treat on this number 9 as well. As I'm getting this colored in, I would love to know your opinion on hybrid layouts. I do love using hybrid layouts in big projects like this because it does allow for you to have a couple of just really easy days, really quick and simple days that you can get added to your album that are completed stories. So I do definitely intend to have some in this project and in my December daily project coming up in a month or two or whatever. And I was curious to know if there was any preference to, or anything you'd like to see specifically for hybrid layouts. With using hybrid layouts, I would be using my Cricut more, so I would be including that in my videos too, as well as some Photoshop and stuff like that, I think. But I'd love to know if there's anything specific that you would be looking for, and that way I can make it a point to have those included in my layouts. So back to my spread here, I am pulling out some tags and embellishments and trying to find something that I can place in that empty spot where my journaling was supposed to be tucked into. I pulled out quite a few things and tried them out, and I'm going to stick with this little gold rimmed circle, but I'm going to pull out some of these little Tim Holtz brads and just fill in that hole at the top of my circle because it is a circle tag with a brad, and then I'm just going to get that taped down. And I will come back at a later time and just get my journaling added in onto that tag. Honestly, I don't think I've done any journaling in any of these pages since I think maybe story number 2 or 3. I do have all of my journaling saved on my phone underneath my photos, so I have that written out. I just haven't transferred it into the album yet, and that's just something I still need to do. I also added that happy haunting little banner tag up at the top of this rainbow paper where I had accidentally ripped it a little bit too far in. And then I'm just grabbing some of my red line tape to get that 9 adhered down to my page. So I've got my red line tape on this 9, but before I go ahead and try to remove the backer of that and get that adhered down, I am going to pull out story number 8 and kind of adhere that to the back of my story number 9, just because once I add that 9, it's probably going to make things a little bit more bulky, and I'd rather have the pages be a little bit more flat when I'm trying to adhere them than working around any extra bulk if I can avoid it. You know, it just makes things a little bit more easy, a little bit easier. So I'm going to get that adhered down and then get my holes punched. Thankfully, I was able to cut the middle of this photo enough so that I didn't have any like large portion of any of the kids kind of punched out in a hole. I was really worried about that, but thankfully I was able to avoid that. I think maybe a tiny portion of Leland's ear might have got hole punched, but it's not even noticeable. So everything worked out perfectly. I am going to use my bone folder and just kind of press this red line tape into this number 9 because I feel like it makes it a little bit easier to get that liner off. And then I will get that stuck down, and then the last thing I'll do is use my date stamp to put October 15th on the actual photo of the kids. That is all I've got for you today for this video. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me a rainbow emoji in the comments below, or if you'd prefer, let me know what your favorite picnic food is in the comments below. I think my favorite picnic snack is blueberries. I love me some blueberries. So let me know down in the comments below what your favorite is, or just leave me an emoji if you've made it to the end of this video. And like I said, that is all I've got going on today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.